Right now, there is a very big game that's going to be happening in the association, in the NBA. Most importantly, guess what? I mean, James Harden is out dealing with the hamstring, but Kevin Durant is finally back. We are so excited. And to get more on this, we're delighted to have the Goodyear Hotline to speak with Kristian Winfield, New York Daily News Nets reporter, joining us here on Chiney and Golic Jr. Now, Kristian, besides the excitement for KD taking the floor finally, did you see that tweet that our own Malika Andrews, NBA reporter, talking about, there's a picture of a mural outside of Barclays that says, where some see a scoring title, I see the possibilities of elevating those around me, and it's next to a picture of James Harden. How do you feel about that?
Absolutely. I walked by that mural on my way to Barclays Center where I'm at right now. And, I think that's accurate. When you ask guys around James Harden what he does for them, everyone says the same thing. He makes their lives easier for them. And that was kind of his MO when he came to Brooklyn. You know, the first thing he said was, I'm not trying to step on Kevin Durant's toes. He's 7-foot God-given talent. I don't want to get in the way of that. Kyrie is a scoring machine in his own right. I'm not trying to get in the way of that. But what I can do is be a facilitator, is be a playmaker, and help set everybody up. And if you just look at his numbers, he just got here in January. He's already tied Jason Kidd with however many triple-doubles in a single season for the Nets. He's just out here really just setting – he's orchestrating everything. You know, he's putting guys in the right positions, hitting guys in the corners, creating shots for guys like Nick Claxton, who's become a breakout player just as a byproduct of playing with a guy like James who makes his life easier. So, yeah, I do see him as someone who's elevated everyone around him. And that's part of the reason why I think the Nets are going to miss him. Even though you're getting Kevin Durant back and Kyrie's been playing well, James kind of puts everybody in their natural position where Kyrie can be aggressive, Kevin Durant can kind of pick and choose his spots, and James can get everybody else involved. So that's kind of what he's done since he's gotten there.
Kristian, knowing that you just got done with one superstar on this team coming off a prolonged hamstring injury, how concerning is the timing of this James Harden injury right now, knowing it's a hamstring again?
It's tough, because he had already missed some time with it before he came back, and then he calls out of the game. And now the Nets are saying, hey, he's going to be reevaluated in 10 days. And if he's going to get reevaluated in 10 days, that means, okay, he's probably going to be out closer to 2 weeks, maybe 15 days. If he's out 15 days, that only leaves you with 13 games left in this regular season. 13 games left for him, Kyrie, and KD to get it together. And that's only if everybody stays healthy, which history has shown this season is probably not going to happen. So it's going to be tough, but at the same time, these are high-level players, right? These are guys who have MVPs, who've been all-star, who had all-star appearances all their lives, basically. They're going to figure it out. But I think they would much rather have this time on the floor playing in the regular season together, because if you look at every team across the league, everybody's saying the same thing. There is no such thing as practice this year, right? We've got games every other day. We have to rest ourselves. These guys don't have time to go to the HSS training facility and work through sets. They've got to figure it out on the fly. So for James Harden to miss however many games he's going to miss is going to be tough. But, this is why you go get a Blake Griffin. This is why you go get LaMarcus Aldridge. This is why you trade for James Harden in the first place, because you've got those extra pieces now to where if guys go down, you can kind of stay afloat until someone comes back.
When you said high-level players, I feel like that's an understatement when we're dealing with this Brooklyn Nets team. It's Kristian Winfield, New York Daily News Nets reporter, joining us here on Chiney and Golic Jr. on ESPN Radio. And I want to stick there because let's just pretend it's a perfect world. Earlier in our show, we said it's crazy to think that this big three of Kyrie, James Harden, and Kevin Durant have only played 7 games, and then now the star exiting when another star is coming. Let's just pretend that finally they get everybody out. What is your biggest concern for the Nets overall?
At that point, if they get everybody out, my biggest concern is somebody else going down the next day. That's how it's been for this team. You have Kevin come in, and he has the health and safety protocol, then he misses time, then Kyrie takes his time to deal with what he had going on off the floor and figuring out how he wanted to make his impact, and he misses time, and then Kevin has another set of health and safety protocols that he misses time with, and then you trade for James, and then Kyrie misses more time. Kevin goes down for 23 games. Now James is out. It's like a snowball effect. It's like, okay, well, who's next? But if we're talking X's and O's in basketball, it's, okay, well, you've got such an overloaded front court in terms of who you have on this team that the spotlight has kind of been taken away from what they have in the backcourt. Yes, you have James Harden, and yes, you have Kyrie Irving, but as we're seeing now, if one of those guys goes down or misses time, it goes from Kyrie Irving and James Harden to Kyrie Irving and Chris Chiozza or Tyler Johnson at that one spot. And that can be tough, to have that drop-off in terms of talent. So other than that, I mean, look at the guys that they have on this team. You've got 41 All-Star appearances combined on this roster. You've got guys who have won at different levels. You've got guys who are willing to sacrifice. I mean, what is it? Blake Griffin left $13 million in Detroit. LaMarcus Aldridge left $7 million in San Antonio. These guys have all come here to win, and they're right. Like they all left that on the table. So I don't think it's going to be a matter of, okay, there's only one ball and so many different egos. I think everyone checked their ego at the door when they got here. I think the biggest thing, and I wrote this the other day, I think the injury bug is circulating around Brooklyn. I don't think it's going to leave anytime soon. I think guys are going to keep dropping, and we're going to see guys in and out of the rotation all the way through the playoffs. And it's just going to be a matter of whether they can deal with it or not.
I say, in your estimation, what you've seen from this team this year, if they're less than whole, can this team win a title, knowing what's lurking out there, knowing the other injuries that have gone on around the top of the NBA hemisphere when it comes to the teams in the East and the West that have been banged up? Can this team less than whole win it all this season?
It depends on who's missing. If you don't have Kevin Durant, I think it's a no. If Kevin Durant is missing time in the playoffs and can't play for whatever reason, I think it's going to be tough to beat a team like the Sixers. To get out of the East and not have Kevin Durant, I don't like the Nets' chances. I think the Sixers pose the biggest problem to this team because, number one, they don't have an answer for Joel Embiid. Yes, you went and got Blake Griffin. Yes, you got LaMarcus Aldridge. You have who else is on this team? DeAndre Jordan, who hasn't really seen that much time since getting Aldridge. None of those guys are answers for Joel Embiid. And when you look at what the Sixers have put around him, they're just a team in terms of a profile that can really slow these guys down. And if you don't have Durant, that's going to be a big problem. Now, if you do have Durant and maybe it's Kyrie or James Harden that goes down, one of those two, I think you still have a shot because those two are dynamic scorers who can get their guys involved. And Kevin Durant, I mean, he's a walking 40-piece if he ever needs to get you it. So I think to answer your question, yes, they can win a championship if they're less than whole. But if that less than whole piece is KD, I think it's going to be tough.
Kristian Winfield with us here, Nets reporter covering the team for the New York Daily News on the Goodyear Hotline. And I also see food all over your timeline, Kristian, so I got to ask you. I was scrolling down and I saw your pregame eats from the other day. I'm not normally a guy that's going to roll out of bed for something with broccoli in the title, but why is the broccoli bar something I should buy into right now? Because the plate looked pretty strong. I'm not normally thinking broccoli can carry the team and be the Kevin Durant, though.
Listen. When you put on some pandemic pounds, you got to make the necessary adjustments, right? And I had to make the necessary adjustment. No more fried chicken. Give me some fried broccoli. And that's what they had. Right, I've stopped at this spot a couple times, and they've been shut down for different reasons. And I just happened to be walking there today, and I saw them open. I said, oh, no, I got to go in and check out what they have. And basically what they have is different types of broccoli. I had some tempura fried broccoli. I had some, stir-fried broccoli. I had some, bunch of different things, and they had some salad. And it was just amazing. There's so many different flavors. I would probably give it an 8.5 out of 10. So you should definitely – and it was only $10.
Wow.
It was $10. Yeah.
I was going to say, follow Kristian on Twitter at @ChrisSplashed.
It better be $10.
I mean, obviously.
Listen.
I'm telling you guys, look at the pictures on his Twitter. This actually looks like it's pretty damn good. And at that price point, I am willing to go ahead and take the run at it. We're showing it on ESPN Plus right now. You get the full package when it comes to Nets coverage here on ESPN Radio when you talk to Kristian Winfield. Again, covering the Nets and the NBA for the New York Daily News. Check him out at @ChrisSplashed on Twitter. Kristian, we appreciate the time, the insight, and the food breakdown, man. We'll talk to you soon, all right?
Yes.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. Anytime.